Thomas Jefferson defeated John Adams in the presidential election of 1800. Jefferson's major achievement as president was the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, which provided American settlers with a vast potential area for expansion west of the Mississippi River. 43. Jefferson himself was a scientist, and he supported expeditions to explore and map new territory, most notably the Lewis and Clark expedition. 44. Jefferson believed deeply in republicanism and believed that it should be based on independent yeoman farmers and planters. He was suspicious of towns, factories, and banks. He also distrusted the federal government and judges and sought to weaken the judiciary. However, he found a worthy opponent in John Marshall, a Federalist from Virginia. Although the United States Constitution included a Supreme Court, its functions were vague until Marshall served as Chief Justice, 1801 to 1835. He defined these functions, especially the power to overturn any act of Congress deemed to violate the Constitution. This power was claimed in 1803 in Marbury v. Madison. War of 1812. Americans were increasingly angry with Britain for violating the neutrality of American ships to the detriment of France. Britain had captured 10,000 American sailors to serve in the Royal Navy against Napoleon, and the British also supported Native American hostilities against American settlers in the Midwest. The Americans may also have sought to annex all or part of British North America. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Despite opposition from the northeastern states, especially the Federalists, who did not want to cut off trade with Britain, the United States Congress declared war on Britain in June 1812. 51. The war was a disappointment for both sides. Both sides attempted to invade the other, but were driven back. The American High Command remained ineffective until the final year. The American militia proved ineffective as soldiers were reluctant to leave home and repeated attempts to invade Canada failed. The British blockade damaged American commerce, bankrupted the treasury, and further angered New Englanders smuggling supplies to Britain. The Americans under General William Henry Harrison finally gained control of the waterways on Lake Erie and defeated the Native Americans under Tecumseh in Canada, 52, while Andrew Jackson ended the Native American threat in the Southeast. The threat of Native American encroachment into the Midwest was ended forever. The British invaded and occupied most of Maine. The British raided and burned Washington, D.C., but were repulsed in Baltimore in 1814, where the Star-Spangled Banner was written to celebrate the American success. In upstate New York, a major British invasion of the state was repulsed. Finally, in early 1815, Andrew Jackson decisively defeated a major British invasion at the Battle of New Orleans, and he became one of the most celebrated war heroes. 53. With Napoleon, apparently hopeless, the cause of war had dissipated and both sides agreed to peace, resulting in the pre-war borders remaining unchanged. The Americans declared victory in early 1815 when news arrived almost immediately of Jackson's victory at New Orleans and the peace treaty. Americans were proud of their success in the Second War of Independence. The Federalists and anti-war protesters were humiliated and never had a chance to recover. The Native Americans were the biggest losers because they never achieved the independent statehood that the British had promised them. They also ceased to pose a formidable threat as settlers poured into the Midwest.